Spampcan and the coaches. Thomas the Tank Engine enjoys his branch line very well, and he likes to be pulling his two coaches, Annie and Clarabelle, and he loves them really much. One day, Thomas was going to the station to pick up some passengers. When he arrived at the station, he saw D199, and Thomas found D199 at the station. "Hello, 199, said Thomas. "How are you?" "Oh, I'm fine, thank you," said 199. "Give me those coaches. I want them." Thomas was afraid. "I shall not hand Annie and Clarabelle over to you," he said. What do you want from them?" "I want to have them," said 199, "and I'll have a proper branch line." "Huh," said Thomas. "What would you want from a branch line?" he said. "I think you don't have one just yet." The guard blew his whistle, and Thomas was ready to go. "Goodbye, 199, he said. 199 was very cross. Thomas was still enjoying himself, and he was still pretending that he never saw 199 at the station. This made Thomas feel very happy. He was hopping down the track, enjoying himself. He went up Gordon's hill. It was hard for Thomas to climb, but he managed it really well. Annie and Clarabelle were impressed. Then there was danger. Thomas was on a slippery bridge. He went on the shake bridge and he went derailed. Thomas couldn't move. Poor Thomas was hanging on the edge at shake bridge, and it was dangerous. "Help!" cried Thomas. "Help!" But it was too late. He fell into the water, and Thomas was wet. The passengers were afraid of Thomas. Soon Toby came to the rescue. He was coupled to Clarabelle, and at last Thomas was back on the rails. He couldn't move. His brakes were broken, and Toby had to take Thomas to the station and then to the works. "Thank you, Toby," said Thomas. "No problem at all," said Toby, and with that, Toby took Thomas and Annie and Clarabelle to the station, but they were not at the station just yet. At last they'd reached the station. The fat controller was surprised to see Thomas in a terrible mess at Shake Bridge. "You're going to have to go to the works, Thomas," he said. "Toby will take care of Annie and Clarabelle for you." "Thank you, sir," said Thomas. Thomas was ashamed. So were Annie, Clarabelle and Toby as well. At the next day, Thomas went to the works to be mended, and he was almost mended as usual. Meanwhile, there was trouble. Toby wasn't taking over Thomas's branch line this time. This time, 199, aka Spampcan, got Thomas's coaches, and he was taking over Thomas's branch line now. 199 was very pleased. He laughed. "With Thomas out of the way, I'll take care of those two coaches for a while. You're all going to be mine." Annie and Clarabelle were upset, and they wished they wanted Thomas back. D199 raced down the countryside. He was enjoying himself, taking over Thomas's coaches. And then Spampcan wasn't gonna fall off Shake Bridge like Thomas did in that day. 199 was so careful. He crossed Shake Bridge slowly and carefully. He was so impressed with himself. Annie and Clarabelle were frightened of 199. They knew Thomas wouldn't cross Shake Bridge properly in that day, but they didn't know that 199 was clever at this. Then Thomas's branch line was not the only branch line who 199 took over. Next, he took Henrietta, and now 199 was taking over Toby and Thomas's branch line. 199 had the entire branch line to himself. "You are all mine now," said 199. He got all the passengers back to the station, and 199 roared away. He kept speeding along. The coaches were frightened. "What could we do?" said Annie. "I don't know," said Clarabelle, "but it looks like Spampcan isn't doing a good job with us." "Yeah, I know," said Henrietta. "What could we do?" 199 ignored the coaches and continued on going faster. The coaches were frightened of 199. 199 was speeding all on his own, and the coaches were not enjoying this. 199 was going so fast, but this time he was going too far. He was on his way back to the station when suddenly he was almost at the station, and then when he arrived at the station, something bad happened. 199 came derailed and crashed into the station. "199 was in a terrible mess, and the Fat Controller was very cross. "You have caused confusion and delay, Spampcan, and I won't be inviting you back this time." "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir," said 199. "As a punishment, you will be sent back to the other railway for good." And 199 knew that it was going to teach him a lesson again. With 199 out of the way, the station was built and it looked beautiful again. And now Thomas was back on his branch line, and Toby was glad that he got Henrietta back, and all the engines were happy to be on their branch lines again. And Spampcan was sent home in disgrace and was never invited back. He knew he had done something very silly indeed.